we are going to get into a couple other second-tier running backs. And the first guy you had actually on my list, you got the Bijan slide up there, but you got Breece Hall on my list.
Oh yeah, there we go. I got to make sure I get back to the right slide here. Did I not? I must have not. I had a Breece Hall slide ready. Where did it go? No, somehow
Breece
it's gone.
Hall, I'll just give you guys a teaser. He finished as the number 2 running back in fantasy last year, which is crazy since he was coming off an ACL tear, and he was hanging out with Zach Wilson probably more than he thought he wanted to, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let me get into that. I did have a slide on him for whatever reason. It's not pulling up. We'll get the slideshow back for you guys in just a second up in this production quality. But yeah, Breece Hall versus Bijan Robinson. It is a big debate right now going on. And you just brought up the biggest reason why I think Breece Hall is the one for me. Again, running back 2 last year behind only Christian McCaffrey, despite all that hell going on. Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian, a horrendous line last year. That I get the Aaron Rodgers. That's the easy, obvious upgrade. Him coming in there. It's huge. And I'm not going to downplay that at all. He's great at getting the ball to the running backs, checking into the right screen games. If he sees an advantage, they can't play, stuff him in the box like Breece Hall always has seen throughout his career. You can't do that right now. And Rodgers is so good at checking at the line to those advantageous situations for his running backs. And Hall's going to be the absolute focal point of a Rodgers scheme. Like that's huge. He's always set his running backs up well. But it might be even I guess I have one more point in that too, is that the Jets were 29th in points per game last year, 15.8 points on the season. And Rodgers has always had top 10 overall offenses. So you think about the fact that he had Breece Hall just one carry last year inside the 5-yard line. That's numbers going to 10 times potentially with Aaron Rodgers. So the touchdown ceiling is so much higher. The looks are going to be that much better. But I honestly think even more important for Breece Hall is this offensive line, the way that they are going to be improved. Last year's 31st offensive ranked line by Pro Football Focus, they are now currently ranked 5th by Pro Football Focus for the 2024 preseason. They signed Tyron Smith from the Cowboys. They drafted a monstrous first-round 11th overall pick, Olu Fashuna. They passed on Brock Bowers for him. I don't know if I would have done that had I been them, but they clearly thought huge on Ulo. They signed one other first Matt Mullen guy, Morgan Moses, from the Ravens as well. Like, this is a completely rebuilt offensive line. So just to think that Breece Hall, again, was coming off an ACL last year, playing with Zach Wilson in quarterback hell, and ultimately still finished, and behind this line too, the 31st line, and was the running back too. And every single one of those boxes is dramatically improved. What could he do now? And you saw what he did at the end of the year. As he said, like, I really didn't feel back to myself till like week 12, 13. Last 3 games, 43, 27, and 29 PPR fantasy points. Finally felt like he had that speed back, that 4.39 40 at 217 pounds, just that size speed terror. So we finally saw him looking like himself. And even in this most dreadful of situations, he was just dominant. So I think, again, I said it was too cute to take somebody, a running back, over CMC. But, man, if I had to, place a bet on this is the guy that's going to dethrone him, I think Breece Hall is, the easy bet, even though a lot of people think it's Bijan. And we'll talk about why in a sec, but I'm all about Breece being that next guy up.
Well, there's no question that Breece won people leagues last year with that end of the year burst. I mean, week 16, 43.1. Yeah, I mean, that probably put some people over the top that wouldn't have won otherwise. Bijan, very tantalizing one as well. And I do think we have a slide for him, right?
Yeah, we do. We'll pull that back on in here. And the slide is meant to emphasize why I think his situation has dramatically improved too. Because Arthur Smith is gone. That's a huge thing. And I know Arthur Smith generates really positive run production as a whole backfield, but just maddening overall usage for Kyle Pitts, for all his weapons, Drake London, and certainly Bijan Robinson as well. And yeah, I get that there was actually some positive usage in there, that Bijan Robinson did see a decent amount of volume in the passing game, first in running back routes, slightly above average in efficiency, though. That was kind of the rub there. 27th in fantasy points per opportunity, 21st in yards per out run, 16th in yards per carry. So the talent, generational prospect, all these great things, it just wasn't fully there for the full season. I still believe in Bijan a ton. I love the player, but I guess when I'm trying to pick straws between him and Breece Hall, we know how damn good of a player Breece Hall is, like truly elite league changing. And Robinson could certainly be that. And I expect him to be that. And I think he's finally going to be in the right situation to showcase that. But he had all the cards. Both these guys had cards stacked up against them last year. And one of them came out as running back 2. One of them came out as running back 8. So I'm going to go with the guy that's consistently done it. But why is Bijan in a much better situation? Why is he at top 5 overall if he wasn't all that great last year? Well, one, you got Kirk Cousins. And just like Aaron Rodgers for Breece Hall, a new quarterback instead of Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke. Again, you can't understate how important it is to have the boxes spread out. He faced 6.7 defenders in the box on average. That was running back 36 in terms of how stacked the boxes were against him, and the lower the worst on that. So 8 touchdowns could legitimately double in a more just open air, just scoring the rock. This was not a explosive offense by any means last year. And then Zach Robinson, too, comes from that Shanahan, Sean McVay tree, was the OC for McVay. I know McVay was the one calling the plays, but we know, as we've seen these coordinators translate to different situations, how successful it's been. And their backbone has always been a absolute dominant workhorse, whether it was McCaffrey with Shanahan, Todd Gurley, Kyron Williams last year. They love having that main back you can lean on. They quote, marry the run and pass game is what their philosophy is. And they've already talked about Bijan being used like Christian McCaffrey, Raheem Morris, the head coach, saying our plan on offense, get the ball to Bijan as much as you possibly can, in as many ideal situations as you can. And if you just look at what Kyron Williams' usage, I don't think it's going to be quite there. They've already talked about Tyler Algier, and he is a good back. I like Tyler Algier. He's a quality player. So he's going to be involved somewhat. But Kyron Williams, if Bijan gets that treatment, 82% of the snaps, 74% of the rushes, 65% of the routes. This would be absurd if a talent like Bijan got that type of workload. So either way, he's going to be in a significantly improved situation. I do still prefer, you got it. A lot of people are going to come down to the decision, Breece Hall or Bijan Robinson. Which one do I go? To me, it is pretty clearly Breece Hall. I definitely side with him, but I also do have these guys 4 and 5 where a lot of people might rank the Jamar Chases, the Jeffersons, the St. Browns, these great safe receivers ahead of them. And I just think, again, come back to that scarcity of running back. If you can get a true hero-worthy guy, and I really do think like it's CMC and then these 2 in a tier, and then it drops off, and there's some guys that are interesting, but like these 2 are by far the clearest threats to CMC's throne. So I do have them ranked right 4 and 5, right after those top 3 guys.
So, yeah, I can understand, some disagreement maybe on these receivers we're about to talk about in just a second. It's a pretty good receiver debate coming up 6, 7, 8. But, as far as the Hall and Robinson, Bijan and Breece Hall debate goes, I do also agree with you that it's pretty clearly Breece Hall. And it really just comes down to something you touched on before, which is we're talking – if you really like the player that Bijan is, which I completely understand if you do, he looks like he's going to be incredible. His blow-up production is still theoretical. It has not really happened yet, whereas with Breece, we have actually seen it. And so for me, it would be tough to pass up given that situation. And if Bijan ended up outscoring him this year, it's not like I'd be shocked. The talent is clearly there. But, yeah, I'm definitely taking the guy I've seen actually do it on the field over the course of a season before.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.